Hey guys, welcome to the Trophy Life podcast. I'm your host, Tara Smith. From beauty to wellness, wife life, motherhood, and everything feminine in between, the Trophy Life podcast is a place where you can feel inspired and empowered and ultimately create the life that you desire and deserve. It's hot to romanticize your life, so grab a mocktail or your favorite cozy beverage and let's get into it. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the Trophy Life podcast. I am excited because if you're watching this on YouTube, I kind of shifted some things around with my setup and I'm loving how it's looking. There might be like a few more adjustments, very small, subtle tweaks to come, but I think we have it at a pretty good place that I'm very happy with. So in today's episode, I have been really excited to talk about a little bit more of the girl boss, if you will, side of me. Of course, before we get into that, let's talk about some life updates that I have. And I actually don't really have anything too groundbreaking besides the fact that I have decided that I'm going to start becoming a morning person. I don't know how this is going to go. I think it'll go good, honestly. I feel like for me, my reasoning behind becoming a morning person is essentially like, look, when I was pregnant, I was waking up naturally at 7 in the morning, sometimes 5:30 from morning sickness. So I'm like, okay, well, a baby's already going to wake me up early regardless of that. And even before that, I will be, if I am, sick, which everyone always says every pregnancy is so different. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes for me. But anyways, I just figured why not start it right now? And I can also just have like a fun romanticized morning because I don't have any responsibility besides dogs. So, and they're always asleep while I'm like doing out at a Pilates class early in the morning or I'm at home. So it doesn't disrupt their routine at all, which I really like. And yeah, I would say I'm just basically, instead of waking up at like 8 to 9, I'm now waking up from like 6 to 7. And after today being my second day doing it, I'm like, it's actually like your body adapts so quickly. And last night at like 7 p.m., I was like, girl, I'm ready for bed. Like I need to get in bed, take off my makeup, all the things. So yeah, I feel like it's going really well. I went to a Pilates class yesterday, and then today I did weightlifting in my home gym, which I love a good weightlifting session. I will say though that the Pilates class was so fun, and it was really fun to do it at 7 in the morning because the sun was like coming up while I was in class. So I loved it. Something terrifying happened to me 2 nights ago when I was sleeping. So my husband wakes me up at like 4 in the morning and he's like, Tara, why is our bedroom door open? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm waking up to this and I'm like, why is the door wide open? I don't know, because we have a lock on our door and we both are just like, you know how it is. And you're just like kind of unconscious when you're waking up. We're trying to just like see what is someone in our house, like what's going on. So we basically ended up just coming to the conclusion that I slept walk. Now, I have been known to like sleep talk a lot. Like my husband will have full on conversations with me. I don't remember anything. He'll like tell me about something that happened. Usually he'll fall asleep after me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't remember that at all. So what we think happened is that I went to the bathroom in our guest bathroom upstairs because for like a week, or it wasn't like a week, but our toilet in our master bathroom was not working. So it like wasn't usable. So our guess was that during the night, I like had this habit still of going in to the guest bathroom. That's like what we landed on. It's either that or we have a ghost in our house. Do I have a ghost in my house? Only time will tell. But I don't think that they can open up doors and like unturn a lock, because that's the creepy thing, is that my husband was like, no, I remember specifically last night locking the door. And I'm like, sick. Love that. Would have just loved if like you accidentally forgot to lock the door and it just somehow you didn't close it all the way and so it opened, but that doesn't really seem to be on the table. So there's that. So let me know if you have any experience with ghosts or sleepwalking, because those are both really fun scenarios to have. Let me tell you. Okay, my 5 favorites for this week are a food edition, because I was writing them down and I was like, wait, these are all food. And, I was like, we'll just roll with it. So the first one I have is, which I literally am staring at them on my desk, because when my husband and I were about to game last night, we actually didn't end up gaming, but I brought them down as like a little treat. And they are it's dark turbinado almonds. Trader Joe's by far has the best ones. I got some from Whole Foods and they're just like, they're not the same. They're not like salty enough. It's just, they're too dry, where the Trader Joe's ones, so next level. Like, I am obsessed with them, and I'm really loving the dark chocolate almond kick that I'm on right now. So if you need a good treat, highly recommend those. Barcode drinks. Also drinking one right now. It's on my desk over here. I love specifically the watermelon and cherry flavor. They're both just really great drinks for hydration. It's got like ashwagandha, magnesium, which I don't think, if you're pregnant, don't drink them, because ashwagandha I know is not pregnancy safe. But if you're just looking for like a fun, I know a lot of girls, by the way, listen to this show that are either moms, trying to conceive, all that kind of stuff. So I would just, if you're in that category, just ignore it, step away from it. But it's made with like coconut water and pure fruit juice. So when I am pregnant, I think I'm going to like try and make a hybrid of this drink, because I love it. And I put creatine in it after I like work out. And sometimes I'll have it like, I think today I was drinking it when I was working out. So it's kind of like a healthy Gatorade is like the best way to describe it. That's what my husband and I call it. And also, speaking of Gatorade, they need to like revamp their entire product, or I fear they're going to go out of business, because who even buys Gatorade anymore? Who wants to drink Red Dye 40? Girl, if I'm going to have Red Dye 40, I'm going to eat hot Cheetos, right? I'm not going to drink Gatorade. Sorry, Gatorade, but you're just not that girl. Third thing is a homemade Caesar salad with steak. Okay, so a few nights ago on Friday, I made pizza, just like the Kirkland cauliflower pizza. It's so good. It's actually like feels illegal for how good it is, with the fact that it's made with cauliflower crust. Now, if you're looking for a really good pizza, the Whole Foods brand barbecue chicken and pepperoni, honestly unmatched. But I'm trying to just like stay on my gluten-free train as much as I can, because I know it's really great for my thyroid levels and stuff, which, by the way, actually I do have a life update on that. I'll give it to you after we're done with the 5 favorites. But the steak I got with the Caesar, so I did the pizza and then the Caesar salad, I just made it from scratch, used the Primal Kitchen dressing, and the steak that I used is from Costco, and it's like this grass-fed steak, and you just buy it and it's like already cooked, so you just warm it up on your stove. I love it. I know it's like not necessarily the best because it's like wrapped in plastic and all that stuff, but I love it for just like a quick dinner, quick protein. I'm obsessed with it. So I think I'm probably going to make that again for dinner tonight. And I wanted to do burgers, but my Sprouts order, they were out of burger buns. So I don't know what to do now. But anyways, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. The next thing is homemade ranch dressing. Oh my gosh, it's so easy. It's saved to my recipe highlights on my Instagram. I absolutely loved this ranch. I don't like seed oils. I don't like sunflower oil. And I swear every ranch dressing has sunflower oil or it has a weird, gross taste. There's nothing that tastes better than homemade ranch. And I made it with Greek yogurt, so it like also has protein in it. It's the best. The best situation. I love ranch so much, and I can't eat ranch I can't eat pizza without ranch. So I was actually out of ranch, and I was like, I need to make ranch because I need ranch with my pizza. This was last Friday, so I made it, and it was incredible. The last thing is protein waffles. I have been making these for the past week for my husband and I, and he every morning has been like, do we have any protein waffles? And they're so good. So I just use like I think it's called Birchbender is the brand. I use their regular pancake and waffle mix. Their buttermilk one is really good. I haven't tried the gluten-free one, but I do have it. And I just use their regular one, also really good. I think the buttermilk one is the best though. And what I'll do is I'll put 2 scoops of the Heart and Soil animal-based protein powder into the mix. And then I will add eggs. However, there's like some egg shortage going on right now. I can't find eggs anywhere. I'm like, I need my own chickens. I need my own chickens because I can't live without eggs. I eat like 3 eggs a day. And today I didn't have any. And I was like, girl, I don't know how long I can go without my eggs. But I do that. And then I put in a little bit of raw milk. And it is incredible. You could also use water, which I feel like I should have used water because the milk gets heated up anyways. But it does make the consistency of the pancakes like so creamy and so good. So that's what I do with that. And then you could also add in like probably like collagen or anything. I feel like pancakes and waffles are like such a good option for adding in hidden nutrients. So I love it. And when I told my husband that there was protein powder in them, he was like, are you kidding? He's like, I literally had no idea. And I love that. I love tricking my husband like I would with my future children, that there's protein in something that you wouldn't expect. Okay. The other life update I was going to say is that I am planning to get on thyroid medication. Now, truthfully, here's like where I'm at in my life. So I think after experiencing a miscarriage and the fact that we don't know what caused it, but there could be a chance that my thyroid levels, progesterone, estrogen had something to do with it. I just feel intuitively it feels right for me to get on thyroid medication. So my midwife recommended someone for me, and I'm going to go see them in like a week or so and get on thyroid medication. And then whenever I do get pregnant, I actually really don't think it will be anytime soon. So, which should be nice because then I'll have some time with the thyroid medication and stuff. But the next time around when I do get pregnant, which I need to like, I think I mentioned this in my most recent episode about what I'm doing to prepare for pregnancy. But in case I didn't, I'll tell you, is I've been taking baby aspirin every day. And apparently aspirin has tons of health benefits too. Do your own research. I'm just sharing what I do. I've been doing a ton of research and I think I can highly benefit from it. So I've been doing baby aspirin every day, along with some other supplements to help my thyroid and excess estrogen in my system. And when I do get pregnant, I'm going to keep doing that with my baby aspirin. It's like 80 something milligrams, basically is what you do. I just like cut a tablet of aspirin into 4 and then I just take a quarter of it every day. But I'm also going to be taking progesterone shots if it's something that my blood levels show that is needed. Because I know progesterone is really important for implantation and all that jazz. So those are 2 things that I'll be doing. I mean, I'm already doing the baby aspirin, but next time around, I'll be asking my midwife and really advocating for myself, because that was one thing that I thought I did a decent job of the first time around. But now I'm like, no one will be able to tell me no. Like if I think that I need something and I can feel it intuitively, no one will be saying no to me. And if they do, I will be finding a different doctor. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I am like, when I go to the endocrinologist, because that's what I'm going to, I'm not going to a naturopath, I'm going to an endocrinologist. I am going to see how they are. And I'm going to kind of like honestly interview them. I do that with every doctor that I have is I interview them. I want to know their opinions on things just so like we're on the same page. And I don't think that I don't know if I'd be taking thyroid medication if I wasn't trying to get pregnant in the next like year or so, or maybe a little bit more than a year. So I don't know truthfully if I could say that I would. However, where I'm at now, and just the unexpected weight gain from my pregnancy that literally makes no sense to anybody. I think it's just the best thing for me to do as like a process of elimination type of a thing. So I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes. And probably actually, maybe not the next episode, but the one after that, depending on when I get my medication, I'll give you guys like updates, of course, each episode, because it's something I get so many questions about. But the biggest takeaway I would say with health stuff is just always be your own advocate. Let's get into today's episode topic. So I mentioned it at the beginning, but we're going to be talking about redefining success and why your path doesn't have to look like everybody else's, and kind of just what even like is success. Because honestly, the word success, I was trying to think of a different word for this episode, but I was like, I feel like that's the best word to use that everyone like culturally understands. But I almost hate the word sometimes because of the stigma that comes with it. So I wanted to first look up like what even is success. So I looked up the definition, and it says the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, which I was like, okay, I like that, because it basically just says if you have purpose behind something and you accomplish it, then you achieve the byproduct, which is success, right? So I remember like probably, I think I was like 18 or 19 at the time when I started getting like very interested in like making a lot of money. And I was like, that was like my main motive with everything. And then I met Colby when I was just barely 19. And I then was like, wait, no, I'm so obsessed with like love and relationships and growing in that form. And so I was still working on other parts of my life simultaneously, but it kind of like my relationship started to take, I would say, a more predominant focus in my life, if you will. And I kind of, which this is so beautiful, and I think this is one of the best things about relationships, is that I started to realize very quickly that money for me does not equal happiness at all. Yes, it's an incredible tool, and I would honestly say that I view money as a tool to make my life easier and more convenient, but not to make me happy. Like, I don't seek validation. Yes, sometimes I'll like want to go shopping or something, but honestly, not really. Like, when I'm like thinking about that now, I'm like, actually, I don't think I do that. Sometimes if I am seeking something, or like if I'm like, oh, I want this like tool to have a positive effect in this point in my life, then that's when I'll kind of like go shopping or something like that. But honestly, I don't seek out external things to make me internally happy. I'll use an example for what I'm kind of saying in case you don't get what I'm saying. So like yesterday, or for the past like few weeks, probably ever since I had a miscarriage, I noticed that on my arms, right here on my arms, if you're watching on YouTube, like right where I have a lot of muscle on my arms, I got a lot of cellulite when I was pregnant in that specific area. And I was like, this is so weird. So I've been doing massages, like lymphatic massages, and even doing like some dry brushing on myself. But my dry brush that I had from like Amazon was hurting my skin so bad. And I have like very soft skin. And I was like, this just can't be good for my skin to just be rubbing this incredibly hurtful brush right onto my skin. So I got the Skinny Confidential body brush, finally pulled the trigger yesterday after thinking about it for, I don't know, like 2 months probably, maybe even longer than that. And no, it's actually definitely been longer than that, because I feel like before I even got pregnant, when I kind of started to get into like body brushing and all that kind of stuff, I was like, I feel like this just looks so much softer than the one I'm using, but I didn't want to buy something that was so expensive if I didn't actually like the results of the wellness practice, right? So I ended up pulling the trigger on that yesterday, and I would say that's like the extent of me with like shopping. Like, honestly, I do not just like buy things. I think it's wasteful. I think it's seeking validation out of something that's just kind of pointless and doesn't really get you anywhere. And so it doesn't excite me. I would rather like spend my money on having like an assistant like I've had in the past, or house cleaners, or healthy food, things that really make my life better. And so all of these things I've like realized over the years. And I think if you are someone who seeks validation from nice things or, whatever it could be, like shopping consistently, just ask yourself why that is. And I think it's always really great to be self-aware and know why you're answering a question a certain way. Also, not to say I don't like nice things, because like I do drive a nice car, but I will tell you that the only reason that I bought a nicer car was because I live in Utah. It snows a lot here, and I used to drive a Hyundai, and the amount of times I got stuck in the snow in that car because it like didn't have four-wheel drive was way too many to count. Had to get out like on very busy roads or the freeway, push my car. I was like, I'm just not doing this anymore. And so I bought like a used Porsche Cayenne last year, which I drove a 25, maybe it was $30,000 car for a very long time, when I think most people at like a certain level of, your annual income would have bought a car a long time ago. But I think stuff like that is just like, I think it's fun and it's exciting, but also it's like silly at the same time. So again, just kind of think of your own personal definition of success. So now that we kind of got like the money talk out of the way, because I feel like that's what everyone thinks of when they think of success, which, by the way, our society's definition of success, I think, is so backwards. And obviously, I kind of talked about how money for me is not at all something that makes me happy and not a way that I personally define success. So I think overall, when it comes to our society and pressures and stuff, it's so interesting to me because somebody is so incredibly happy as a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you're a stay-at-home wife, or you love to teach preschool, and someone else could be working a 9-to-5 and be incredibly fulfilled, or someone could be starting to start their own business, but they like hate it and they don't actually love what they're doing. So it's like all these weird things where I feel like if you are like a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home wife, you might feel like you have to work in corporate America in order to feel like you are successful. And I hope that through today's episode, I can kind of like get rid of that out of your brain. If you somewhere, fit into the box of either, maybe not even, I hate the word like fitting into a box, but if you personally, depending on what your goals are in life, I want you to be able to define success in your own personal way and be very confident in that decision. So I kind of wrote out this fun trophy life approach to success, if you will. And I wrote down like a few questions, and just think to yourself and maybe write down what comes to your mind when you hear these things. So the first thing I wrote is, are you happy? I think that's the main goal that we all have as humans. Even if we don't realize it or not, we are seeking validation and happiness in either things, activities, people, ourselves. It could be anything, right? And so we want to feel fulfilled and happy. And kind of like along with that, do you like what you are spending your precious time doing? And I think this is so incredibly important because, of course, our time is the most valuable thing. It's like we can never get our time back. And making sure that you're spending your time with what makes you happy. I think there's nothing more that screams success than that to me. Someone who loves what they do every single day and would literally either do the work for free, do the work for free, or just you overall never get sick of it. Even if you have some days that are hard, overall, like you're still continually going up, right? Kind of like a stock market, if you will, how it's sometimes you go down, but then overall you're going up. Flow versus hustle. So keeping yourself at a base that's attainable for you so you can stay consistent. I think this is so cool. And I actually saw this photo a few days ago on Instagram, and now I've been seeing it more as I've been like on Instagram because I think it's become like a fun topic. I actually reposted it on my story, but I'll put it on the screen. It's a photo of a bunch of glasses, and it says, this isn't real consistency, or this is what people think consistency is, and it's where all the glasses are filled up all the way. And then the second photo below it says this is real consistency, and you have some glasses that are full, some that are like barely full or barely almost empty, or some even that are empty, and that's 100% totally okay, because that's, in my experience, that is much more what consistency is it's just, again, it's like a stock market. You're going up and down, you're continually going up, but you are for sure going up and down in the day to day. And I think that is so important to keep in the back of your mind, because you are not perfect. You're human. You're going to mess up. You're going to have bad days. Things will happen in your life that can throw you off, even for like, hopefully not too long, but it can be, a significant amount of time sometimes. And it's okay. As long as you're just a little bit consistent over time, those small moments of consistency for sure add up. Or maybe not even, I guess, yeah, consistency. The next thing I wrote down was spend time to know yourself better and become more self-aware. Self-awareness is something that really has made me be aware of what I want to spend my time doing when it comes to, I'll just use like my career as an example. I know for myself that even when I do have kids one day, whenever that journey begins for me, I know for sure that I want to be having some sort of a form of a creative outlet. And I'm really grateful that it also happens to make me money and has all these fun benefits that come with it. And it has been an ever-changing flow for me, if you will. Like, I started out creating content, or no, before that I started modeling for companies, and then I started making my own content, and then I started streaming video games, and then that led me to a partnership with Sephora, and then from Sephora, I started the podcast, or not like the partnership with Sephora, but basically the content evolved. My content evolved over time, led me to the podcast, led me to launching Trophy Life. And my goal is to launch my own brand. I won't say what it is, but it's something I've been working on for quite some time. And it's just crazy to me when I think about how many small decisions I have made to get to where I am, and how I just was not scared to make any of those changes and basically stay consistent even when there's change, if that makes sense. And I feel like anybody who has experienced entrepreneurship or some form of growth or a creative outlet, anything like that, where they've achieved some form of success, even if it's a I even think like moms, parents with multiple kids, they'll probably tell you that every kid is different. Every era of their life is different. And so learning to like adapt and change with those times as they're going, do you know what I mean? Is something that I think you just get better at with time. And you'll notice how everything just cultivates into exactly where you are today. And it's so beautiful. And like, I just love it. I love how I can pinpoint all these different things in my life where I'm just like, wow, that one thing made such a big impact on me and my career, or me in my personal life. And anyways, I love that. So again, I think, spend time to become self-aware so that you can have, your own moments, or maybe you already have had your own moments of small wins and small successes that will ultimately get you to whatever your end goal is. And even if you don't know what your end goal is right now, spend time meditating, working out, journaling. All of these things are such great tools to continue to know yourself better. And I kind of just already said this, but don't be afraid to pivot, and it's okay to embarrass yourself. I feel like as someone who, my passion, if you will, literally lies with putting myself out there and being vulnerable. And obviously I don't share like everything about my life, but for the most part, specifically on this podcast, I get pretty open with things. And, you know, I honestly feel like I'm someone who does not get embarrassed very often. However, I will say that sometimes it definitely hits harder than others, mostly when you're first starting to build something. And because it just takes time for something to build momentum and grow, something that actually is going to be sustainable takes time. Even if it's a year, that still takes time to do it and to build it. So, or create it. I mean, again, there's just so much that goes into that. But yeah, don't be afraid to pivot. You can literally reinvent yourself tomorrow if you want to. Especially if you're not happy, then take that as a sign. If you aren't happy, no time better than the present to start making small adjustments. That was the last thing I wrote. I kind of ended up just talking about everything all together. But yeah, I kind of, again, happiness is everyone's goal, whether they realize it or not. And I think it's really, really cool that as humans, we have so much control over our life, even if it feels like we don't. Like, you can just do things if you want to do them. If you want to go to a workout class at 6 a.m, you can just do that. You can do it. Like, you are an adult, you have free will. So do it. I wrote down the 4 pillars of success that I personally kind of have in my life and things that I'm constantly focusing on. And I thought it'd be cool to talk about them. And you could write down whatever pillars you have in your life. So you could have 4, you could have 6. I think it's probably good to keep it probably no more than 5. And you'll kind of get an idea of pillars that I'm talking about when I use mine as an example, but feel free to make your own, whatever works for you. So the first thing I have is family/my marriage. So of course my husband is my family, and my husband will always be my number one. Even when I have kids, like, my kids will know that my husband and I are each other's most important thing to each other. And I think it's really important for me personally, again, for kids to see that. And I would say that overall, that's the most important thing in my life, because yeah, it's something I'm very proud of as well. It's something that makes me extremely happy. I constantly am thinking, like, oh my gosh, I literally can't imagine if something were to happen to my husband or to my dogs, like things like that. And I think it's actually healthy in moderation to think that way, because for me, it's a form of gratitude where I'm like, I feel so grateful. And today is such a good day when there are so many people that are going through health challenges and just so many things that are far worse. And yeah, I think in that standpoint, I am extremely grateful of that part of my life and the success that I've had there. The second thing is my physical health and well-being. I was kind of like trying to decide. I was like, is this like my number 1 or is this my number 2? And maybe I shouldn't say that. Like, I don't really know if these are like in an order, because it's really hard for me to put them in an order, because they kind of just ebb and flow with like what gets more attention at certain chapters of my life, certain seasons. So again, I feel like there's not really like a specific order, but physical health for me is something that is extremely important. When I am working out and I'm eating nutritious foods, I'm just a healthier, better version of myself. I can think more clearly. I'm just happier, like especially if I'm seeing progress in my physical health, or it could even just be like in how I'm feeling. Like if I'm eating nutritious foods and I feel really good that day, like that feeling is just so great. And there's little things in life that bring me more joy than that, honestly. The third thing I have on here is my faith. So of course, faith to me is something that's extremely important, my relationship with God. And I would say it's also something that I'm constantly working on. And it feels like a stock market where it feels like one day I'm pouring all the water into the cup, and then some days it's like literally a drop. And I think that's okay. I feel like everyone who is a human can relate to that. And honestly, if someone isn't like that, then run, because I fear they're lying, because Gary Vaynerchuk literally also posted that water photo. So I'm like, okay, if Gary, who, again, everyone's definition of success is different, but I would definitely say he's someone who has achieved a lot of success in his life, and he even feels that way. I'm like, okay, so we're all pretty much on the same playing field. We're just, having slightly different experiences, but all still having very similar experiences at the same time. The fourth thing that I wrote is my legacy. This has been something that I've actually been thinking about since I was like 19 years old, maybe 20, 19 or 20. And my cute husband is definitely a big reason for that, because his personality and just who he is as a person is he's very motivated by things like just being the best version of himself, if you will. I want to put words in his mouth. I always don't want to do that. But from my perspective, he's someone that I very much so respect, look up to. And he's really taught me in this way to just, I feel like, really care. Even though I already did care in, some capacity, he is just, yeah, I love how this part of him has rubbed off onto me. So yeah, for me, I mean, that's definitely going to be the type of wife that I am, the type of neighbor that I am, the type of friend that I am, the, what I spend my time doing as well. And I don't know if I said mother, but that's, of course, something that not right now, but in the future will be very prevalent for me and very important to me. And what I mean by legacy when it comes to like motherhood and the type of wife that I am and friend is how I make people feel and how I can somewhat make a positive impact on their life, because obviously we're all going to die one day. And so it's like this weird fine line where you're like, okay, if I were to die tomorrow, how would I want to live today? And I personally would want to be somebody who lives in a way that makes a positive impact on other people's lives, just because for me, it's something that makes me happy, which is the end goal of everything, again, for me personally. And so, yeah, I think especially in the wife, mom, daughter department, it's extremely important for me to do that. And it's something that I feel like I am getting better at every day. And it's so exciting to improve in those different ways. So yeah, those are kind of like my 4 pillars of success. And I wanted to give you guys some words of encouragement, if you will, to wrap up this episode, because I know that, like I was mentioning in the beginning, our society they throw the word success around a little too much sometimes. It can be overwhelming, but you don't need to prove yourself to anybody. You only need to prove yourself to yourself. I always love to think about this, and I don't mean for it to sound like depressing, but it shouldn't be depressing. It should be motivating and exhilarating to think about yourself literally on your deathbed and look back at your life and say, like, did I live my life for me? Not for what my mom wants or my dad or my siblings or my spouse. Or my kids, did I live my life for me? And I don't know, I love this question. I think it's so exhilarating. It's so motivating. It's inspiring. And you can kind of take it one way or the other, but I personally choose to see it as inspiring because it's something that you have control over. Even if you're 70 years old and you're listening to this, you still have a lot of years left. So if you aren't currently happy in any pillar of your life personally, what can you do to start to improve that area of your life? I love this. And I'll even use myself as an example. I would say, this is actually so hard. I would say right now, I've been really focusing on healing physically and emotionally and mentally from everything that I experienced with losing my first baby. And I'm very proud of myself in all the work that I've done. And really from the day that I found out that I no longer was pregnant after all those emotions that you go through. And like, it's so hard to explain it to people because I'm like, I just can't. It's not like each time, in the future when I do get pregnant again and I have my baby, it's like that first time of being pregnant and getting that positive test it's not any less exciting than I know it will feel in the future. Do you know what I mean? So I think I'm very proud of myself for the way that I've healed mentally, emotionally, and continually healing physically as well. It's one reason why I was saying I've started doing Pilates is to heal my pelvic muscles and my core and just to constantly improve and be a better version of myself. And of course, to create the best vessel for my future babies to grow in. So yeah, I would say that's something for me that, I've kind of just been improving on, and I technically already have started to do that. So I guess that doesn't really count for that one, but I guess it does because I'm starting to make little adjustments every day, like waking up early, which I started yesterday. So, and if I ever don't wake up early, then my next thing that I will do is I won't throw a fit over it in my head. Obviously I wouldn't do that in real life, but I won't be hard on myself. I'll forgive myself. I'll move on. I'll make the best of that day. And I'll start again tomorrow. And that's kind of like my MO is I'm just being chill. I'm just doing things that make me happy and yeah, that bring me joy in my life. And I feel like things that are good will just naturally happen from that. The last thing I wrote is no one else is you. Your timeline and your life are completely unique to you. So if you find yourself scrolling on social media, and I'm going to speak from existence here because a few days ago, I was on my Instagram Explore page. I am not kidding you when I say that every single photo on there, which there's like 20 or 30, right, was a pregnancy announcement of people that some people I like, maybe I don't know them, but I know of them, or people I do know, or just random people I don't even know. And they're announcing like their gender reveal or, or a pregnancy video. And I was like, in that moment, I felt the lack of just another reminder, I'm not pregnant. I thought I would be, at this time in my life. And I was like, no. I was like, so I exited on Instagram. And a few days later, I consciously went on there and was clicking on photos on my Explore page that were just not pregnancy related because I was like, okay, clearly this is something that, it wasn't giving me anything to look at other people's lives. And what's crazy is I don't even think I knew anybody, which is just like it's so insane. It's like, you don't know their story. You don't know anything about them. Why? Like, Tara, you're better than this. You know not to do this. Like, this is silly. And sometimes for me, I have to like be very straightforward with myself. And I think knowing yourself and your pitfalls and also what helps you be, what helps raise you up, I think those things are incredibly important. So yeah, I've been reworking my Instagram feed to remind myself just that what you consume, it does affect you for sure. So be conscious of the content that you consume and don't compare yourself because again, no one else is you. And it's that concept can be hard to wrap your mind around when you think something is going to go a certain way and it doesn't. But the reality is if you're constantly focused on the what if or the what would have been or what could be, and it's not in a positive light, it only hurts you and you're only doing yourself a disservice. So yeah. And if you have to like, if there's a certain person in your life or, if it's social media, just delete whatever it is for the time being. But if you want whatever that thing or that person is in your life again, you have to figure out how to basically adapt and create a certain narrative in your life. And I mean, not in your life, a certain narrative in your head that changes when you experience whatever you experience, right? So for me, I'm like, okay, I need to change my explore feed, and this probably won't be something that is forever. And what's weird for me personally is it's always people that I don't know on Instagram specifically that I'm like, or TikTok or YouTube. It was whatever. It's just social media where I'm like, oh, I don't want to see this. But if it's someone that I know personally, doesn't affect me at all. Like anyone I know who's like pregnant literally does not affect me at all, which is really interesting that it's people that I don't even know. Because I'm like, girl, there's like billions of people, trillions of people in this world. So of course that other people are going to be having a baby right now. But for some reason, it's just like, you know, you can kind of get in your head a little bit sometimes. So yeah, I think one other thing with comparison as well is sometimes you can use it for your benefit. So if somebody has something that you really want, I feel like something I hear all the time from women, and I'm speaking from experience, is someone will tell me that they want to be a content creator. And I'm like, or they're jealous, or like all that stuff with Poppy. Oh my gosh. I'm like, the comments were just filled to me with girls that were jealous that these people were getting these vending machines, which like you have to look internally and ask yourself why. Because I'm like, girl, if you knew how much celebrities were making for doing commercials, it's the same thing. It's like, it's all marketing. It's just, the whole thing is just so silly to me. But yeah, look at someone, and if you're comparing yourself and you find yourself wanting what they have, figure out what that thing is and start working on it in your life. Like if you're like, oh, that person's in such good shape, and you're like, I want that, start working on it. Or if, you know, someone's like making content every day of their life as a mom, and you're like, I want to do that, then do it. There's nothing that's stopping you. The only thing would probably be the fear of looking stupid, which again, we've talked about that. It's silly. Don't focus on that. Just do you. Because honestly, life is long and it's also short at the same time. It's weird. Like life is long, but then it also moves fast. Spend your life doing what makes you happy. And that, I would say, is the definition of success from the Trophy Life girlies. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. By the way, you'll hear about this in the outro, but I am going to be doing giveaways very often. And essentially, listen to the outro so you can hear how to enter. But listening each week will be a very fun, huge step to get you closer to winning a fun giveaway. And it's all makeup, beauty products. I'm basically giving away like all of my PR that I get from brands, which is like all new launches, all new makeup products mostly from brands at Sephora. So it's very exciting. Nothing makes me happier than sharing stuff that I get. So I'm excited about this, and I hope you are too. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. Before you go, I have something exciting for you. I'm doing a giveaway. So to enter, all you need to do is rate and review the show either on Apple or Spotify. Make sure that you're subscribed to the show, of course, so you never miss an episode. And head over to the @TrophyLife podcast Instagram and leave a comment on my latest post and let me know what your favorite takeaway was from today's episode, or comment some emojis, just something, and that will basically enter you into the giveaway. The more that you engage, the higher your chances of winning are, so don't be shy. I'll see you. I'll be engaging with you. And this is something I'm going to be doing ongoing. So even if you're listening to this episode later, you can still go and comment on my most recent post, and it will 100% get you entered into the giveaway. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow the podcast, of course, on Instagram @Trophy Life Podcast. And if you haven't already, come join the club @Trophy Life Club. This is just a community for the girls who like to romanticize their life and want to become the best version of themselves. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube @TaraKellySmith for more content. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Love you. Bye.